This content is for kids.
It's not for kids.
Isn't that what I said?
No, it's not for kids. If you are 13 years or younger, this is not for you. Do I have to kill somebody in order to actually make that point across?
No, man, you don't have to kill
Wait
no one.
a second.
Oh, no.
When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. Septum Sin versus the world. 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 I'd buy that for $1.
Hello, and welcome to Septum Sin versus the World. I'm Septum Sin, this is Kotobuki Jake,
Hey.
and we're here to show you what they got. Alright, well, there's a lot going on,
There is.
but alas, no Gundam.
But we do have two major long-running behemoths coming out this week.
Yes, indeed.
In part.
Yeah, not all at once. Though, I would love to see one of them in a set like that.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool. In any case,
We'll see Discotech do that in 15 years.
when Viz loses the license. Well, I guess let's take a look at that beautiful Blu-ray, DVD, and 4K footage right now.
Digibook, whatever the hell that is.
Yeah, Digibook. Digibook is something that they actually utilized for when Blu-rays came out. You know, whenever they made it into a little Blu-ray-ish book. I have one actually. Come to think of it, for Labyrinth, which is going to be one of our Inside Movies galore.
Yes, it will. One I am looking forward to. Can't say that about all of them.
Oh, come on. You know that the one that you want to see the most is Repo.
Yeah. I want to find out if it's the train wreck people say it is.
Well,
I just hope it's worth
you already
the
know
discovery.
it is. So this is a Digibook for those of you who don't know.
Okay.
As you can see, it's pretty much part book, part Blu-ray.
So it's basically the format of Criterion's Princess Bride, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's just kind of cool.
Cool.
Speaking of Digibooks, why don't I start off with a
Why not?
Digibook, which is the Ten Commandments is getting a Digibook release. Now, they've only had one release where they've done both of the films before, because there's a silent film from 1923, and of course the one everybody knows was Charlton Heston in it. And this is the only one that I have seen that have had both films on it so far.
I think that's the edition I have. I don't know.
Which is a really cool edition.
It is.
And I made sure I got this edition because I wanted both films. I didn't want them separate. I mean, you can see how this just opens up like this. You can see his... And just look at that. That is freaking cool. That's a 50th anniversary edition. Has all the special features I could ever want. This one may or may not have a few. This one doesn't. I haven't dived into this to see, but it's pretty cool. The Ten Commandments, the 1923 is more of a silent parable, whereas this one is more of the straight-on story. So it is what you like, one way or the other. They're both pretty good films. I want to say both are by the same director. I was pretty sure that the original was was Cecil B. DeMille. Yeah, it even has commentary. Yep. Cecil B. DeMille.
All right, so they're both DeMille productions. He did that a couple times. He would take a movie and, some directors did that who were active in both the silent and the talkie era.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah. Anywho, speaking of revisiting the well, but not necessarily to as reliable gain, I guess you could say. One movie that came out last fall that I think I'd heard about in passing, and then I found out the week of that it came out, and I was like, oh, this one's crashed and burned. But I actually want to see it. There's I believe Elizabeth Banks directed. She's doing an interesting bit of filmography nowadays. She directed a attempted reboot of the Charlie's Angels franchise for our modern post-Me Too, we all love female directors world, where I am a big booster for female directors, and I like Banks as an actor and as a director. And she assembled an interesting cast. She's got Kristen Stewart and I'm blanking on one of them, but Naomi Scott, who played Jasmine in the live-action Aladdin, plays a young lady that the angels have to rescue or something, and they end up taking her under their wing, and she's like the newest member or something. It supposedly is not a bad movie, but no one saw it.
Well,
this was one of those times they tried to go back to the well for a familiar property, and just no one really wanted to go back to it for some reason.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's... I don't really care. I don't have any thoughts on this film. I didn't have interest in a new Charlie's Angels film, and you can make it as political as you want. It's still a Charlie's Angels film. And I had no interest in the show. I had no interest in the other rebooted movies. I think the only thing I did like about
I never saw Full Throttle.
The only thing I liked about those movies is Bill Murray as Charlie.
No, he wasn't Charlie. It was Bosley.
Bosley, yeah. Bill Murray as
Yes, he
Bosley.
was excellent as Bosley.
So that was the only thing I really liked about those. The only thing I remember was the fit that, whatever her name was, threw, saying, you guys are just all chauvinist assholes who don't want to see a good movie. She threw a big fit.
Who did?
God, who was it that directed it again? I want to say it was her that did it.
Did this one?
Yes, that one.
Elizabeth Banks?
Either Elizabeth Banks or was it Naomi or somebody did. One of the people associated with the project. It wasn't Kristen Stewart. I remember that because she was on Hot Ones for it, and I thought that was cool. But I when that's all I remember is the fit somebody threw because you didn't come to see the movie. I'm sorry that doesn't endear me to watching the movie. So
I know which one I'm going to have to watch. I don't know which one I'm going to have to talk about next. Then, but
yeah. So speaking of things I don't want to watch, One Piece has a new movie out called Stampede. They're kind of just releasing these random movies. I just kind of throw them on my list of I guess I'll need to eventually collect it. And then waiting for them to go on sale cheap because I really have no desire and I haven't made any attempts to continue watching One Piece since we stopped doing the One Piece game that was running.
Well, as you pointed out, they basically stopped with the series for now, so you might as well
just stop. But yeah, so I'm waiting, and I'm sure they'll come on sale. I'm not paying $30 for it, so when they come down. There are other things coming out that I have more interest in, like the Lupin stuff we talked about earlier on. I wouldn't mind getting those because I like keeping up with all Lupin stuff. But, it's One Piece. It's going to be collected, but not really interested.
So, speaking of people throwing fits because their films didn't get the love that they thought they should have, one of the films that is widely regarded this year as one of the big Oscar snubs is a film by the Safdie brothers called Uncut Gems, in which Adam Sandler plays, if I recall correctly, a jeweler. I don't remember exactly what his occupation is, but he gets in deep with the wrong people, and he owes, too much, and it involves gems and that sort of thing. I know that. But whatever the case, Sandler supposedly gives a career performance, like one of his best performances ever. And he is a guy who has talent. He just elects to squander it most of the time.
Yeah.
And every now and then he goes all out and tries.
I love Punch Drunk Love.
Yeah, well, I didn't fully love it, but I did appreciate it.
I thought really well done.
Right. So this one supposedly is sort of like the follow-up, if you will, to Punch Drunk Love in a lot of ways. And people were saying it was even better, that he did an even better job. Well, I'd say he did a better job. Very few people said the movie was better than Punch Drunk Love. But anyway, but it came out at the very tail end of the season.
Yeah.
A lot of people simply couldn't go see it. I was one of them. I simply have not had the chance to go see it. But apparently Sandler made a public statement along the lines of, if I'm not up for an Oscar, I'm going to make a bunch of crappy movies for you people who don't understand my talent.
So
something along those lines.
So his normal move.
So he apparently re-upped with Netflix for a bunch more crappy movies.
I'm sorry, if Sandler got the award, he probably would have done the exact same thing.
He probably would have. I don't know if this was him throwing a fit so much as just being a smartass. But
I was going to say, he probably intended to do that anyway. He was just probably saying, yeah, this is the joke, and it's funny.
Right. But I have to admit, it is one I want to see. I've heard a lot about it. I want to see it. I'm curious about whether he really did as good as people said. And now that it's finally coming out, I will slowly work my way there.
Well, speaking of films that that deserved Oscar love, but they actually got Oscar love.
A little bit.
This is Bombshell. One I actually did see in theaters. I was very impressed by it. Won the best makeup, which it deserved. Did it win anything else?
No. It was up for 2 other awards.
And had some excellent acting.
Yes.
And, I mean, gosh, what was the one? I know that Harley was in it.
Margot Robbie was a nominee for supporting actress, and Charlize Theron was a nominee for actress. A lot of people thought Nicole Kidman got kind of robbed, but I don't.
All of them did very good.
All of them did good. And again, what's his face?
This is we just gotta forget them all. Third Rock from the Sun guy.
Yes. John Lithgow was excellent. I mean, like I said, he's unrecognizable under all that makeup, but part of it was he really did a good job.
Yeah, he did.
He was, totally different from the kindly neighbor he plays in Pet Sematary.
Sometimes dead is better.
Yes.
But,
like Ailes' career.
Also, this movie, and of course it's about Roger Ailes and about Fox News. It's kind of a political commentary. So,
no kinda about it.
I do feel that you can watch this and be conservative if you're okay with the truth and understanding, because it didn't say the entire network was evil. It just said that Roger Ailes was evil.
No, they put a little bit on Bill O'Reilly, but they didn't focus on
they didn't focus on O'Reilly.
But it was more, the movie was less about political orientation and more about this is the way a toxic work environment can destroy one's morale, one's career. It shows the way that sexism can lead to a toxic work environment.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was more the focus.
Like I say, unless you're one of those people who was like, Roger Ailes was innocent, screw Megyn Kelly, screw all the other ones. As long as you're not like that, you should enjoy this. You should be able, well, not enjoy, but you should get something out of this.
It was entertaining in a way while being disturbing at the same time.
Yeah, very well done.
So, another film that supposedly was very well done that I have never seen is this week's Criterion release. It's a documentary from 1969 called Salesman, where they follow 4 Bible salesmen as they try their darndest to sell Bibles to people who can't afford them. That's really all I have to say on that one. It's an interesting idea. I don't know what I'll make of the film, but
not this one.
No, not that one. Although that'll probably eventually get a Criterion release, and it should. But in the meantime, this is the Criterion film of the week.
Fills that one slot.
Yes.
Well, Beauty and the Beast is getting a 4K treatment. You know how Disney does. I guess they haven't really stopped their up and down and of the well. It's just that you can get most of them through the streaming now.
Yeah.
Now, I have not updated for a while. I've got the Platinum Edition. I remember when this was going for like $60-$70 because the vault was closed.
Yes.
Shoot, this is still very out of print, this version. But they always re-up it. Disney does a good job of adding restoration. So if you feel like this needs to be, there, if you're not one of those people who's like, oh, well, the live action was better, I don't need to worry about it, But this did actually get Oscar love again. Could be one of those that is responsible, not all of it, but one of them responsible for the animated feature category. Because it broke into Best Feature, I believe, didn't it?
Well, it was up for Best Picture, yes.
Yeah, so, well, how dare an animated film get up for Best Picture,
Yeah.
Actually, I'm sure that's how the Academy felt.
Well, a lot of them did. No doubt about it.
But if you want more on that, you can check out our Oscar our Oscar Wrongs video.
Yep, among others. So, a film that is probably not going to make the Criterion collection, although it might make the Tinfoil collection one day, is a film that I figured we want to talk about it, given that, like this week's selection for Inside Movies Galore, Repo the Genetic Opera, this is a star-studded film that was reviled when it came out. The critics loathed it. They said it was one of the worst films ever put to celluloid. And I want to see it. And it's the Bob Dylan star Masked and Anonymous, which also features, if I remember correctly, Penelope Cruz, John Goodman, and it's got a phenomenal cast. But Dylan himself had very few acting roles, and supposedly that's for a pretty good reason.
Yeah.
And everything I read about this was apparently that it was, if I'm remembering correctly, I believe it was accused of basically being cinematic masturbation. So sort of. I don't know. But it amuses me, so I will check it out one day. For whatever reason, it's getting a Blu-ray release this week. I don't know if it's the first time, and I don't know what the impetus for its release is, but whatever. It's out there again if you want to try it.
So, Love Chunibyo and Other Delusions is getting an Ultimate Collection release. I feel like they keep updating it on releases of stuff. You know, one of the ones I got here, which is a pretty nice collection here, is the 1 and 2 collection, which kind of I was able to like downsize a little bit. But then came Rika version, and then came the movie Take on Me?
Still need to see that.
So, you know, all of this, hey Foo, should be in one set. And it is.
Ooh, you Foo.
Probably about this size. So, you know, you're saving yourself a little bit of room by downsizing a little bit. I'm trying to do that myself, and you'll see that some in my pickups. But probably not for this.
I think so.
It's not quite enough for me on downsizing. Though I probably will do so with, Hidamari Sketch.
See, he has the same editions I do. I would have gotten the collector's editions, except I was too slow on the first one, and it's way
Feels
out of print.
lopsided after.
But if they ever do a complete ultimate edition with the collector's set, I will get this. Next, I'm going to mention 2 movies together. We've got a handful of old westerns getting Blu-ray releases this week, and specifically I want to call out a couple of Jimmy Stewart ones. We got Night Passage, which, if memory serves, Night Passage is supposedly one of his very famed films. There's also one called Canyon Passage. It doesn't have James Stewart, and I don't know what relation it might be to the other one. And then we have I think it's James Stewart and Maureen O'Hara, if I remember correctly, called The Rare Breed. I need to get these one of these days. I've seen very few of James Stewart's westerns. I've seen a couple of them. I saw The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance and a couple of the others, but he did a lot of them. And I need to see more of those, because he's a fun actor.
I may have Shane's somewhere.
I need to see that one. Was that James Stewart?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
Bleach is another one that if you really want to downsize, they're kind of doing larger episode runs of their series. They've gotten a 6th one out now on Blu-ray, which is kind of cool. It covers episodes 140 to 167. So, it covers, if you're looking at the old editions, part of set 8. Already you can tell from 6 sets, this is 8, 9, and 10. So, essentially, You're already with 6 sets. You're already as good as you would have been with 10 of the original Bleach sets.
Nice.
So it's not a bad deal. Not a bad deal at all.
Very nice. Not to mention that the first 4 or 5 sets were big fat sets.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah, so you're saving a lot of space there.
You are saving.
Yeah. And my last one I'm going to mention is a BBC Nature production with David Attenborough. So you know it's going to be wonderful narration with very strange pronunciations, words like glacier and sloth. And it's going to be very fun. And it's called 7 Worlds, 1 Planet. And apparently goes in depth into each one of the continents, looking specifically at certain individual species that are, I guess you could say, maybe emblematic of the continents, or, something that you think, like, my guess is Antarctica probably have penguins, something like that. So, it looks good. I love me some nature docs. I will have to get this one eventually. I will have to get it on, I think it's a 4K release.
Yeah.
If I can find a 4K Blu-ray 2-pack, I'll probably do that. Just in case,
Now there is, now I do warn you with these documentaries, now you're fine with this. Matter of fact, it probably adds to the selling value to you. But if you're one of these people who does not believe pollution can be effectively created by man, don't watch these, because they do talk about it and they do preach a little bit at the end of most of these. Blue Planet, Planet Earth. These
I wouldn't say
it.
Don't watch them, just expect that could happen.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
But
because if nothing else, if you can't at least watch a movie like this and at least appreciate the beauty of it, then there's no hope for you anyway. But anyway.
I'm picturing now John Lithgow as Robert Ailes screaming at the TV, "Fake news! Fake news!"
Probably.
It's talking about plastic pollution in the ocean or something.
Probably, yeah.
But,
all right.
That's it, right?
That's it.
Well, I guess since there's nothing else to pull out of my hat, or your hat, because you don't have it.
Where'd it go? Did you take my hat?
Well, guess we'll have to see you on the next one.
Uh-huh.
Bye-bye.